Saint Leo the Great and as well as the bishop condemns the usury at the Council of Evra. So all these verses that you sing are all from the Bible.
Okay.
And there's only one thing they are telling us, that we should shun away from what? Interest. Maybe when I say usually, people may not understand
what
yes, yes.
Usury and interest are basically the same.
Basically the same.
Yeah.
So from the biblical point of view, they were talking about usury, but in our context in Ghana, we are talking about interest. So Islamic banking and finance has to do with non-interest banking, where people can go for money from the bank without interest.
So it's interesting that we are talking about Islamic finance and you are quoting Bible verses. I mean, what's the relationship between Islam, Christianity, and this issue of Islamic finance? Is it, if you say Islamic finance, people may think it's just for Muslims or because it's Islamic.
No.
But here you are quoting Bible verses to buttress a few points with regards to certain concepts in Islamic finance.
Yes.
So what's the relationship?
So in other jurisdiction, they call it Abrahamic financing. Interesting. Okay. Abrahamic financing.
Because Muslims and Christians all revere Abraham as a prophet.
Exactly, yes. So they call it Abrahamic financing because all their scriptures preach against interest.
Against interest.
Yes.
So let's zoom a bit into this whole issue or business of interest.
Okay.
But before that, what is the difference between the conventional finance as we have it in Ghana, different the banking sector and all that? Why is Islamic finance a viable complement or alternative, however you want to call it? What is the difference between the conventional finance and Islamic finance as we have it?
Okay, I think I'm going to give you four different four difference among or within the whole setup, the conventional and the Islamic finance. Now, when you look at the conventional banking, it's a chunk of their money comes from interest. So we call it the conventional system, the interest-based system.
Yeah.
But when you look at Islamic finance, we call it non-interest financing system or non-interest banking system. You understand? So the conventional one deals with interest, with the biblical or we call it Abrahamic system do not encourage or permits. I don't want to say permit, encourage. Then we have the Islamic financing, which again is permitted for us to deal in terms of the transaction. So I just don't want to go into the Quranic aspect of it, but I just look at it. When you look at Quran, that's Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 278 to 279, permits trade, and forbids interest. So it permits trade. So when it comes to the conventional system, conventional system focus on interest, while the non-interest banking focus on profit and loss sharing. In terms of, let's say, their income, where the bank get their money. The conventional system deals with more of interest, but the Islamic finance or the non-interest finance deals with profit and loss sharing. That is one. Two, when you look at it, the conventional banking, one or two, they normally invest in everything. So far as it can
bring money,
profits, for them, they don't care. You understand? But you look at the non-interest banking, they deal with ethical investment.
If you say ethical investment, what
do investment mean? That's one, do not cause harm to the society. Or,
for example, I want us to come down, to the basic level so that our viewers
for
can
example,
appreciate the
we can say pornography.
It harms the society.
It harms the society. You understand?
So a company that deals in porn or pornography,
yes,
the non-interest bank is not allowed to deal with them or to invest in them.
That's true.
Any other example?
Alcoholism. And today, myself and you can attest to the fact that when we own our television,
it's a huge industry.
Huge industry.
But it does a lot of harm to society.
Exactly. And I think there are serious advocacy around it. When I think together with even betting, I will get to that. You know, I think it has been combined in the Quran. Khamr wal maisir.
So all these are prohibited when you are dealing with Islamic finance or non-interest banking and finance.
Exactly.
The company or the bank that is non-interest is not allowed to deal with such companies.
Exactly.
I want us to now zoom into interest. You know, what is wrong with interest?
Now, before I come to what is wrong with interest, let me give another example. For instance, let's say with the conventional banks.
Yes.
The reason why sometimes you see a lot of bad debt on their books because most of the loans they give out are not asset backed.
Okay, so I want you to break down what is bad debt.
Bad debts.
Yes.
Monies that are not recoverable.
Monies that are not recoverable.
Yes.
So monies that someone comes for but is unable to pay back.
They come to the bank for loans,
and then when
due
they get
to
the loan,
excessive interest on the money,
they are unable to pay the money back.
Exactly.
That becomes a bad debt.
It becomes a bad debt.
Right. So you're saying
so
that
they keep on paying, and they don't finish paying.
They never pay. They finish paying.
Yes.
Because you collect 100 cedis,
you pay so
add
much
interest. It goes beyond.
When we start, going into the aspect of the interest.
Yes.
Maybe there isn't this when you look at the minister that was
Roots
Minister Kwame Agboja
was talking about
interest, the amount they took,
and
the
they took about 100.
Yes, and they end up here 660 million cedis. Million cedis.
Yes, and it has ballooned because of the interest on the money.
So this should tell you what interest can do. But when we get there, we'll delve deep into that.
Yes, very well.
So when you look at the conventional system, the conventional system does not have anything backing it. But the Islamic system, the Islamic finance system, deals with or is being backed by assets. Comparatively. So once you are coming for money, there should be a tangible assets, or there should be something that you are going to use the money for. For instance, if I'm coming for money, and we should understand that when it comes to Islamic finance, we have two types of loans or monies that we give out. We have one for commercial purpose and one for
Hassan, to help somebody,
benevolent loans. And with that, when I get there, I'll explain that in terms of the products.
You mean free loans that people can go for and without
paying fees and without interest to make sure that at the end of the day, because the money wasn't used for commercial purpose,
for you to expect more money back
from it. Maybe I'm going to pay fees. How can paying fees bring return? It will not bring return. You understand? Yes. So, but when it comes for commercial purpose, it's going to be asset backed. You understand? So maybe I'm going to buy a car. You get the point? So there is a car sitting there, and the money is going to buy a car.
You can't just take the money
without knowing.
Tell me any story and then go and use it for something else.
Exactly.
So that means that the Islamic banking system or an Islamic bank would be involved, or a non-interest bank would be involved in maybe your business or what you are doing to ensure that you are doing what you say you are going to do.
Exactly. And you see that is one of the problems when it comes to the banks.
The commercial banks.
The commercial banks.
Yes.
When people are coming for loan, we have two type of people coming to the banks.
Yes.
People can come for money. Okay. We call it moral hazard and adverse selection. Somebody who come for the money, I'm going to go into business of provision or something.
Yes.
But you end up buying car or buying shoes. Or use the money for wedding.
The bank is not able to prevent that.
That's no.
So when they listen to the story,
they give the money,
and then they give the money on the basis of the story you have told them.
Exactly.
The person goes ahead to use the money for something else, which may not even bring back the profits they thought they would have gotten.
That is true, because when we are even bringing, they'll tell you bring your business plan with projections. So you the loan officer or the credit officer.
Yes.
Fortunately, some of us have been in the bank before.
Yes.
And for so many years, so we understand the system. So once the person brings all his projection and everything, and secondly, we ask you to bring collateral. You understand, thinking that okay, with this we can be able to secure part of our money. In some cases, they will tell you that you have to save the money up to some amount. And that amount, if you don't have that physical collateral, that amount will use as the collateral. So in case you don't pay, at least
the bank can fall on.
Exactly, we can fall back on that money. So that is where the challenge is. So you cannot be able to know, because so in other jurisdictions they call it participatory banking.
Yeah, because the bank, the non-interest bank, will participate in your activity or the business you are doing to ensure that you're actually doing what you say you will do.
Exactly.
And comparatively, not like the conventional banks who would listen to you, look at your books or your business plan, give you the interest, and you go do whatever you want to do.
Exactly. You make profit or loss, they don't care.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. Ours is when it's due every month. In terms of your repayment, you are supposed to pay.
You have to pay. And if you don't pay, they can just come and confiscate.
Maybe
your
later
assets.
In our discussion, I'll give you a real life situation where we have to go and close somebody's shop. The FMCGs, the fast moving consumer goods, the provisions and other stuff, and the people were not, the woman was not able to pay. And she signed all the terms
so
of
she took a loan. She was unable to pay back with the interest.
The interest.
It was a burden for her.
Exactly.
And when she defaulted, you went for her business.
Exactly. And that is the agreement she signed onto. So it becomes a problem. And this, when you look at the conventional system, it continues to make people poor.
And so a lot of people who go and
because you end up using your capital that you invested in the business, okay, to pay principal and interest. And once you are not able to pay on time, it will become multiple compounded interest.
Yes.
So that is a dangerous aspect of it.
Especially when the business is not going as planned.
Exactly.
The business is risk. It can go well or not.
Exactly.
But the bank doesn't really mind. If your business goes well, fine. If it doesn't go well, fine. You have to pay me back my interest.
Yes.
And that is part of the unfairness of the interest-based system.
Yes.
You know.
So when you look at the Islamic banking system,
what did they do different?
They all the time look at the fairness aspect of it.
So what do they do differently from the conventional banks when you come for a loan, commercial
when you are coming for a loan? Maybe I'll get there. Let me give you a typical example of Musharaka, which is one of the product of Islamic finance, non-interest banking or finance, or participatory banking, or Abrahamic finance, and so on. Once you come for Musharaka, Musharaka means partnership. Okay, the bank contributes, you contribute. You understand? Now, once I'm going into a project, let me give you one which maybe more people will be more familiar with it. Let me use Mudaraba before I come to Musharaka. You see, with Mudaraba, we have the bank,
which is another product.
It's another product.
Non-interest finance.
What does Mudaraba means? More or less like a venture capital.
Okay.
You understand? But here in this case, we have the bank being the Rabbul Mal, the owner of the money. Then we have the Mudarrib. That's the entrepreneur. So that's a similar situation when you come to Ghana. Most of the, that's I said, let me use that example. That one will come more clearer.
Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
I have a business. I have the idea. I bring my business plan. I bring it to the bank. The banks look at it. Oh, very nice idea, very fantastic idea, and so on.
So in the conventional system, I want us to break it down so it's understandable. In the conventional system, such an entrepreneur will go to the bank, the conventional bank, ask for fund, for a loan, in order to fund the business. Are you okay?
That's true.
And then the bank is likely to give him that loan plus interest.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is the percentage of interest you
are going to pay
after you pay the loan.
Exactly.
Okay, so in the non-interest banking, what will such an entrepreneur encounter when he comes to the non-interest bank?
So with the Mudaraba, once you bring your business plan, you see issue of moral hazard and adverse selection here will be cut off.
Explain further.
Because one, moral hazard, you've come, I'm going to buy shoe. Okay, the bank is not there to inspect whether you bought the shoe.
That's in the conventional bank.
The conventional
bank. They won't necessarily give you the money and follow up whether you bought the shoe
or you say you are going to enter into, you know, provision business. The bank is not there.
Your work is just to convince them. Beyond that,
they'll give you the money. Theirs is to pay your principal and interest. But with the Islamic banking, okay, the non-interest banking,
the
Mudarrib being the entrepreneur, after bringing their business plans and everything,
and all that,
down,
convince the bank first.
The bank, the rebel mal, the bank. The bank will now look at it, look at its viability, and as well, the bank will participate in it. So by bringing their giving their money in the form of how do you call their contribution
to the business.
Then you, being the entrepreneur, you are bringing your idea
and your expertise.
So both of you, one, will come to an agreement.
So you are in the business together.
We are in the business together. So the bank will be with you
and help you through the business. So they don't just give you the money and walk away. That go do whatever you want and come and pay
the issue of moral hazard
comes back in.
Exactly.
So the bank will participate in the business to ensure that you are doing the right thing, what you said you would do.
Perfect.
So then they become part of the business.
They become part of the business.
It becomes a partnership.
More or less of that nature. So they are with you in the business.
Yes.
So one, you can't do anything untoward. Two, they will be there and be giving their advisory expertise
to ensure you succeed.
So failing here becomes no, because they'll be there with you. Three, there is going to be a profit and loss sharing agreements.
So if it goes well, you share together. If it doesn't go well,
we share together.
You are together.
And in terms of the profit, it's a predetermined agreement.
Yes.
So we agree. You are bringing your knowledge, I'm bringing my money.
How much is your knowledge worth?
Exactly.
How much is my money worth?
The quantification of it.
Then we agree.
So maybe at the end of the day, when there's a profit, you are going to take, you being the how do you call the entrepreneur?
Yes.
Maybe you take 60% of the profit.
Yes.
And I be the rebel mal, owner of the money.
Yes.
We will take 40% or otherwise.
Sure.
The
mutual
agreement, depending on what we've agreed on.
Yes.
And become binding on both of us. Likewise, when there is loss, but there's a caveat here.
Yes.
If the loss came as a result of natural disaster,
yes,
being it flood or whatever it is, or not as a result of your own negligence,
yes, and the bank will know this because they are part of it. Yes.
So they are not going to hold you accountable.
So then, when the money is even lost,
the bank will take
that loss.
But in our conventional system, practically impossible.
Of course. So your toiling and your expertise, you also lose that time you have spent on it. So both of you will lose something. But nobody goes away owing the other person.
Exactly.
Unlike when you are dealing with interest,
system,
whether there's natural loss or whatever. That's not their business, so you have to pay back.
You see how fair the system is.
Yes.
So once I'm not able to, maybe as a result of natural disaster or something, the whole project goes bad because of what we've agreed on. Yes. And maybe it is not coming from me. It's natural, and you are in the business,
and you know,
so there's no going to problem. But otherwise, where you decided to cause that, you are going to pay.
And the bank will know.
The bank will know.
Yes.
And you are going to pay.
Yes.
You understand?
And that is part of the agreement.
That's part of the agreement.
So that you don't also go and mess up intentionally.
I don't know. You know because part of the agreement.
It's part of the agreement.
Yes. So that is how the Islamic banking system or the non-interest banking system is structured. Do you get it?
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
So
maybe I want us to now come down. We've given a lot of examples.
Okay.
And now let's come to some basic features of Islamic finance. What are some of, you've mentioned some already, not dealing in interest and prohibited goods.
That's the principles.
Yes, the principles of Islamic finance.
So when we look at the principle, one, we say no riba. When we say riba, it means interest, no interest. Interest is a no situation.
Very well.
That is one. Two, sharing of what? Risk and reward. We share risk, we share reward. Where there's a risk, we don't pass the risk on to another person. Unlike looking at the conventional system, the bank, when they are giving you the money, they pass on the risk, everything to the borrower.
Sure.
Putting the borrower in a difficult situation, whether there's a profit or loss,
they have to pay.
And that's where I give that example that I have to stand being, a finance officer of a bank to make sure that we clear somebody's shop. And I
the
being a
person
Muslim, the person couldn't pay both the interest. And before the person came into the business, the person was already having their items in
already
it before coming for the money. That is why Allah said He has permitted trading. So we must do trading, and He has forbidden interest.
I want you to hold a little bit on this point. We'll go on a commercial break, and then inshallah, when we come back, you continue from here.
Inshallah.
All right, viewers, so we take a commercial break, and we'll be back soon. Stick and stay.
Non-interest financing system or non-interest banking system. You understand? So the conventional one deals with interest, with the biblical or the we call it Abrahamic system do not, encourage or permits. I don't want to say permit, encourage. Then we have the Islamic financing, which again is permitted for us to, deal in terms of the transaction. So I just don't want to, go into the Quranic aspect of it, but I just look at it. When you look at Quran, that's Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 278 to 279. Permits trade, and forbids interest. So it permits trade. So when it comes to the conventional system, focus on interest, whilst the non-interest banking focus on profit and loss sharing. In terms of, let's say, their income, where the bank get their money. The conventional system deals with more of interest, but the Islamic finance or the non-interest finance deals with profit and loss sharing. That is one. Two, when you look at it, the conventional banking, one or two, they normally invest in everything. So far as it can bring money, profits, for them, they don't care. You understand? But you look at the non-interest banking, they deal with ethical investment.
If you say ethical investment,
what do investment that's one, do not cause harm to the society. Or,
for example, I want us to come down, come back to your favorite Islamic show on Friday on your favorite TV station, Max TV. And today we are having a conversation, an interesting conversation with Dr. Ali Shaibu, Director of Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana, IFRIG. And we are talking about Islamic finance and economic development, considering the new government's interest in introducing Islamic banking or non-interest banking in Ghana. So we're having an interesting conversation, and then we stopped on the issue of the features of or the principles of Islamic finance. So I'll go back to my dear guest, and then we'll continue the conversation. Now, Dr. Shaibu, welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, so we were talking a bit about the features or principles of Islamic finance or non-interest banking and finance. So I want you to quickly touch on that. Then we go into the issue of the products. What are some of the products of non-interest finance?
I think first of all, I've already mentioned of no interest. So that's the first thing, no interest. Two, we said we must share risk and reward. So when there's a loss, we share. When there's a profit, we share. That's the reward. Then thirdly, I say it must be asset backed. We don't just give money. So when we come to the aspect of the national development, I'll talk about the interest bonds, the bonds that we issue.
The difference between the conventional bonds, like the Euro bonds and all that, and then Islamic bonds, which is Sukuk. I think it's a whole topic.
It's a whole topic.
Yes, we'll come into that more.
Inshallah. Then we look at the fourth one must be whatever the bank is going to invest in must be ethical. So the ethical nature of
which is also well defined. What is ethical is what is beneficial to the society. Anything that is harmful to the society is unethical.
It's prohibited. So these are the four principles that we are looking at. The main principles. Then in terms of the products that you mentioned,
some of the products
because of time, we have many products. Mudaraba, Musharaka,
And you definitely have to break it down into English so that we understand what those products mean.
Exactly.
Yes.
We have Qard and Hassan, we have, Bay Salam, Ijara, there are many.
Yes.
And even I can tell you for a fact, there are even many more than the conventional ones.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So the basic ones,
that may be applicable to our community, our society, in context in Ghana.
Yeah.
I think I started explaining the first one that has to do with Mudarraba, where you have the Rabbul Mal, we have the Rabbul Mal being the bank,
the owner
of the money.
Yeah.
Then we have the Mudarrib,
the finance,
the Mudarrib being the entrepreneur. Then we have Musharaka, the second product.
Yes.
Musharaka means partnership.
Yes.
You understand? So the same normal partnership agreement we enter. So the bank will enter into a partnership agreement with you to go into a product.
Like Hausa, Musharaka.
Exactly, Musharaka.
So come and let's work together.
Exactly, basically. Come and let's work together. So it's normal.
Yes.
You understand? And with that, it has the same principles. When there's a profit, we share it together. When there's a loss, we share it together. But everything is being written in terms of agreements.
There's clarity.
There's clarity. Maybe I may touch on the next one that has to do with Qard.
Yes. The loan.
The loans.
Yeah.
We have benevolent loan. The bank is so good to the extent that they must give benevolent loan to those below the poverty line.
And that becomes part of their
CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Yes.
So they give that money to these so I say the less privileged in the community.
But they give it to ensure that you can pay back. They put in measures that ensure that you can pay back without interest.
In terms of the repayment, it's very flexible, such that you can be able to pay. Because one, it wasn't a commercial loan that you make profit out of it. Yes. So they are going to make sure that it's very flexible, such that you can pay. You understand? And it's for a purpose. Either maybe you are going to pay fees or medical bills or something like that. Something that can, help you solve your problem instantly.
Sure.
But not for commercial.
Preserve human life.
Preserve human life.
Yes.
So I think that's the Qard.
Yes.
Then we have what we call the Murabaha. Murabaha.
No.
The Murabaha is what we call cost plus financing. Other places they call it, they say markup.
Markup, yes.
So in such situation, you want a car, you don't have money, and you come to the bank.
You want a car for maybe business.
Car for
not
business.
Just car for pleasure. I see a Ferrari, I'm excited. I want to rev around the community, so I can just talk about it. I see the Ferrari, I want to.
Exactly.
But you
car
want
for business. Let's say you want to use for Uber or
very good.
So those kind of
very good.
I think
so that you give that example specifically so that it's clear.
With the banks, that's the kind of financing that we. That's what we normally do.
Assets that you can use for business.
Exactly.
You want it.
Will help the assets will help in terms of the repayment itself.
Very good. So the asset itself is profitable.
It's profitable.
It can help you to repay.
Exactly.
And you don't have the money for that asset.
Exactly.
So you come to the bank and say, I want this asset to help me work or to help me do my business.
That's true.
And so can you buy it for me?
Yes. So the bank will come in. Yes, I can help.
Yes.
So we will let you know, Mr. Sharif, this car worth 10,000 Ghana cedi, and my markup as a bank is 2,000 Ghana cedi, making 12,000.
So there's clarity. There's no hidden charges, hidden costs.
No, I'll make it open to you.
So I'll buy the car.
Yes.
And then resell it to you
at a markup. Very simple.
Then you decided that it's okay for you or not.
Exactly. And in terms of the repayments, we will have to enter into an agreement in terms of the repayment schedule.
Yes, you pay gradually.
Yes. So the difference here between the conventional and the Islamic banking here is, with the conventional, if you want a car, they will not go and buy even the car for you.
They just give you the money.
You have to find the amount and everything with invoices and everything to make sure that this and that.
Yeah.
Or you come this and that is the amount. Maybe the amount is let's say 50,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The bank will now give you the 50,000 plus interest.
Sure.
You get it. So they'll give you the 50,000 you are looking for plus the interest.
That's the conventional bank.
The conventional. So you have to pay with all the interest. Whether there is a profit or they don't care, you pay all the interest.
But with the Murabaha, you approach the Islamic bank,
yes,
the non-interest bank,
exactly,
and tell them, I want to do this work. I want this asset,
exactly,
but I cannot fund it.
Exactly.
I don't have the money, the capital to buy this asset.
Yes.
So I want you to buy the asset and sell it back to me.
Exactly. So plus markup. So
yes,
I already know this is how much it costs in in the market. Okay, this is what I'm adding to it.
Yes, yes. So the bank will decide
yes,
that yes, we are interested. I think it will help you. First, the bank would have to, the Islamic bank will have to ensure that it is profitable.
Exactly.
It is reasonable.
Exactly.
And then they agree that okay, we'll buy it and sell it to you at a higher price. And then you also know what higher price they are going to sell it.
Exactly.
So this is interesting.
But
so
let me
it's like work and pay.
Work and pay.
You know.
But let me add another.
In this case, you even know how much they're actually buying, the profit they're even making.
Exactly.
You would know.
Yeah, I will know.
But that's what makes it fair.
Exactly.
They're not hiding anything
and
from
you. See, there is an important thing here.
Yes.
You see, with the conventional, once they buy the car for you, and even let's say you had an accident or there's a challenge with the car, and the car is at shop, my brother, whether you like it or not,
you have to still pay back.
But with the non-interest banking and finance, the issue of fairness is here. So I keep on referring to the fairness of the system.
Yes. So they are with you.
They are with you. We already know what is happening.
Succeed.
So the car had issues. So for that particular month where the car is not,
they will give you some reprieve.
Yes, that particular month you are
not forced to go and look for.
You are not even going to pay because you have no work. That asset has not
working reasonably.
Yes.
It's not working.
So you see how the flexible,
so that's interesting. Talk a little bit about Ijara and Sukuk, and let's jump into whether non-Muslims can. You talk about Islamic finance, non-interest finance. Can non-Muslims participate?
Ijara, what Ijara means is leasing.
Yes.
You understand? So Ijara is leasing, and when we talk about Sukuk, Sukuk, as it stands, we call it Islamic bonds.
Okay.
Now, these Islamic bonds that we see should be assets backed, as we look at in our principle.
Yes.
So it should be asset backed. So when we say Sukuk, what is Sukuk? Islamic bond.
Yes.
So let me give you a typical example. Maybe with the example, you are going to get the picture very clear.
Make it brief so that you can touch on other issues.
Yes, okay. Now, I'm going to use Ghana as a case study in terms of developments, as we've got things about economy.
Bring home the example.
Yes. So, for instance, we want to build or construct a 10-kilometer road.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
Which is very, yes.
We are all interested in good roads.
Good roads.
Yes, in our communities.
Exactly. So, 10-kilometer roads. The government of Ghana want to build a 10-kilometer road, and it's going to cost us, let's say, 500,000 Ghana cedi. Now, when you go to the conventional system,
good, so that we just oppose.
Yes, the conventional system, they will only come and tell you government want to construct. The government wants bonds to do infrastructure projects, and they end there.
That's it. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is in the infrastructure, you don't know.
You don't know.
How much do you need?
But they are just raising the bonds.
They are raising the bond
on the market.
So maybe the road is going to cost, let's say, 100,000, like the way I mentioned, 100,000 Ghana cedi.
Yes.
They will raise, let's say, by the maybe that particular man, they are not even able to raise money, their money to pay salary. So they will add 2-3 months of the salary from the bond. So making 150,000 Ghana cedi.
And then they will raise the bond.
They will raise the bond, all right.
And not necessarily do the road.
Do the roads, but to do other things with it.
Which is urgent to them.
Exactly,
anyway.
Because it's not what asset backed. We said we are just raising bond to do infrastructure, whichever it's infrastructure. Myself,
it's not your business.
That is why.
But the bond is not forgetting that the bond comes with a lot of interest.
A lot of interest.
The conventional bonds.
Exactly.
Comes with a lot of interest. So if you use it for something that will bring back money or not, they don't care. But your interest is waiting for you.
It's waiting for you.
And then what is the alternative?
The alternative system is when we say we are going to do infrastructure projects. Here, we are not going to even put it in an ambiguous term. Government of Ghana want to build 10-kilometer roads, and it's going to cost us 100,000 Ghana cedi. So we are going to issue a Sukuk, that is Islamic bond.
And what's the difference in this Islamic bond?
Okay, so here, the government here is going to be or maybe what the government is going to do is going to be a contributor.
Okay.
You understand? By giving the land. Then they will create an SPV.
Which is
special purpose vehicle.
SPV.
Yes. Then now the SPV will now go to the market, not the government going to the market.
Okay.
They will go to the market to raise those bonds, to raise those amounts.
The sukuk.
The sukuk. Now, from the sand they will use for the construction.
To the gravel.
The bitumen, everything is being assessed.
It's stated.
It's stated.
Clearly.
And they'll bring experts, because the SPV is supposed to do all these things. They'll bring experts
to ensure
all these things are good.
That the 10-kilometer road you said you are going to do with this sukuk, that is exactly what you are going to do. Nothing more, nothing less.
And they will check and make sure even the quantity of sand, the quality and everything is up to. So at the end of the day, the SPV will make sure that they are going to construct that 10-kilometer road at the cost of what? 100,000. And
which was raised on the sukuk market.
Which is raised on the sukuk market. So when you look at in other parts of the world, they over-raise the amount. Let me use Nigeria as an example. Nigeria raised a sukuk for a construction of road. They had almost about 110 times of the amount that they were looking for. Because of the transparency nature of it.
Transparency in the raising of the sukuk. And the sukuk doesn't come with interest here.
So I'll explain to you.
You don't pay.
The interesting thing here is, once they oversubscribe,
yes,
government will say, oh, more money is in. No, they are going to give back to those who oversubscribe,
so that they get the exact amount what they were going for. They are not tempted to take the money for other things. They take it for what the
purpose of
they raise it.
Yes.
And then that road can even pay for itself because of the quality and the transparency. And then
so
the people,
what happened is that once they give the money back to them,
yes,
now they bring the best or the quality, or the company that people know, yes, that as for this company, they are good at roads.
Transparency.
Everybody will be aware. I think in one of my trips in Nigeria,
even follow the progress.
In one of my trips in Nigeria, when this one of the sukuk was going to be raised, I was told in one of our meetings that yes, there was a time even one of the people who purchased the bond,
yes,
that's the Islamic bond, the sukuk, yes, walked to the bank and they said, okay, this is my certificate. I want to see the amount in that account, because it's an open account. Transparency that it was open for them to see. Yes, government did not touch anything, and that amount is there.
Is there to be used for the purpose
that road
for which it was.
Yes. So after somebody said, so if there's no interest, how are they going to pay back?
Exactly.
Most of these roads are being told. They told the road,
and the users
will pay for the road that they are using. You see, and at the end of the day, it's become another revenue line for government once they finish repayments.
When they finish the repayment, the road become a property of the government for as long as
yes,
they can benefit
research has proven that most of the roads that were done with sukuk are more quality
than the
more quality than the conventional ones, the normal sukuk, also the normal bones they are using.
So because of want of time, we have about 5 minutes, and I want us to touch briefly on other issues. Hopefully next time we'll come around and then focus more on the sukuk and how it can benefit our infrastructure sector, especially the road, etc.
Yes.
But now I want us to talk a bit about non-Muslims and Islamic finance. You say Islamic finance, is it for Muslims?
I think in my earlier discussion, I made you understand, earlier submission, I made you understand that yes, Islamic banking and finance is an Abrahamic financing.
So everybody
is part of it.
Everybody
because both the Bible, the Quran, and the against interest. So it's for everybody. But just that most of the principles are coming from the Quran. That's why in other parts of the world they call it Islamic banking, especially most of the Islamic, the Arab world, like Saudi, UAE, and so they call it Islamic finance.
But then these principles, though Islamic in nature, are also universal.
They are universal.
Fairness, equity,
and they are even in the Bible.
And laws. These are universal principles.
On where you find yourself and how you call it.
So
when you go to Nigeria, they call it non-interest bank. You come back to Ghana here, maybe most of the people don't know. In the Act
Yes.
It was explicitly stated non-interest banking.
That's the Banking and Specialized Deposit Taking Act. Yes. So
it was stated. So Ghana, even if we are going to practice it, we are not going to call it Islamic banking, but we are going to call it non-interest banking system.
Because that's what is in the Act.
In the
Bank of Ghana.
Bank of Ghana Act. And secondly, you look at other countries like UK.
Yes.
They call it. For them, it varies. Some of them call it participatory banking.
Yes.
Others, you can go to Morocco, they call it participatory banking. Others call it non-interest banking. So this particular banking system is for everybody,
not just for
Muslims. Yeah.
Now let's jump into the benefits of Islamic finance on the macro level. How can a country? President John Mahama recently mentioned that he would liaise with the Bank of Ghana governor to ensure that Islamic banking is introduced into Ghana. Now, if Islamic banking or non-interest banking and finance is introduced into Ghana, how can the country as a whole benefit from this industry?
Okay. As a country, I think I'll break it down.
Yes.
I'll start from the top, from the infrastructure aspects.
Yeah.
Yes. If you permit me, maybe I can give you the case study of how they call it UAE.
Okay.
When you go to UAE, for instance, that's United Arab Emirates. United Arab Emirates, they use the. I'm coming back to the sukuk.
Yes,
yes. At the infrastructure level.
2 minutes to wrap up.
Yes, at the infrastructure level, they use it to build most of the real estate, the housing problem they have in their country.
So housing projects.
Housing projects, like the way we have, how do you call it in Ghana?
Saglemi housing and
housing
all
project
that.
and so on. So the government can raise that sukuk to do housing projects. The same thing comes to the how do you call it? The aviation industry. We don't have our own flights.
Our planes that are national for the
country. But you go to UAE, the flights we have been using.
Yes.
The Emirates, they are all bought by sukuk.
Interesting.
So Ghana, we can use sukuk to buy our own airline.
And use it for the purpose
of the country. Yes.
Sukuk. So it will also
with
benefit
proper
the
management
country.
and everything.
Yes.
And when you go to the transportation industry, most of the buses you see in the Saudi and others that you go to UAE, you see them UK, most of them are bought under the sukuk. Then you take the railway industry as well. The same thing.
Trains.
The train. Most of these trains were bought with sukuk. Use the public funds to build and make sure it repays for itself.
It repays for itself
with non-interest system,
and the people will benefit. Infrastructure,
huge
infrastructure. Now, you can go into hospitals,
build schools, hospitals, and everything. Especially, they have e-blocks, and we have deficit in terms of the hostels. Exactly. Even at the university level,
is there?
Yes, we have a system in, out, in, out.
The whole housing system. The whole housing system is a big challenge.
Exactly. So the government can tap into this market and get funding to do that, and that will help in terms of our infrastructure gap.
And we can even attract funding from the Gulf.
Yes, most of the FDIs will set in. And there are lots of money in the Gulf.
In a nutshell, what will be your final words from this interesting discussion we've had today? Hopefully, we'll come back again and continue zooming more into some of them. But what are your last words or final words?
What I will say is that I think Ghana, we started this journey.
Yes.
So many years. There are people who started before us.
Yes.
As an institute, they have done their best. And I think somewhere in 2017, 2018, we've came on board to continue the advocacy.
Yes.
We pushed to the extent that it's find its way into the manifesto. And now the president said he's going to do it. We only pray and hope that they fulfill what they want to, because at the end of the day, it's not for us, it's for the nation, and we can build the country together. And this is an agenda to build our own country. You can see how the youth are fleeing out of the country.
Yes.
And we are all part of the youth.
Yes.
We don't want to go. We want to help in terms of building our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation today. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have also enjoyed it. You can check online for ifrig.org, ifrig.org for more information, and you can get in touch with us. Thank you so much for making time, and we hope to see you next week. Jazakumullahu khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.